Ministry of Education, we are transforming schools, colleges, and universities into interactive digital platforms by providing right set of digital experiences.
Being the second most populous country in the world after China, India faces the massive challenge of providing food, housing, and employment to its citizens. According to the World Bank South Asia Economic Focus Spring 2018 report, India's working age population, those above the age of 15, is expanding by approximately 1.3 million a month during the year 2015 to 2025. Hence, it needs to create millions of jobs every year to reap the advantage of this demographic dividend. Skill development will also prepare the workforce for the Industry 4.0, fueled by the increasing urbanization, ubiquitous internet connectivity, and the proliferation of emerging technologies. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, we have with us a very special guest today, Dr. Buddha Chandrasekhar sir. He currently holds the position of Chief Coordinating Officer at AICTE, Ministry of Education. He is a unique combination of technologies, ideas, multi-domain business knowledge, entrepreneurial leader with a go-getter attitude. Dr. Buddha, focusing on strategy, technology, and business transformation. He is an expert in managing advanced technologies, process, cybersecurity, and people. He architected 180 plus technology-based system. Dr. Buddha is leading Ministry of Education, National Educational Alliance for Technology, Initiative NEET, Internship Enterprise Portal, Artificial Intelligence Language Translation Project, Indian Knowledge System distributed 450 crore free digital content to higher education students and leading various student upskilling initiative. He hands-on experience in software, IT, education, smart cities, critical infrastructure, urban finance, skill development, healthcare, and telecommunication domains. His focus is to grow the consumer-based profit margin and ensure operational effectiveness while driving the implementation of policies and standards that align with the company's vision and business philosophy. He was in the USA for 6 years in those 5 years offshore on-site project management and architect experience. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, his profile has so many things, so many glories, which I won't be able to explain in next few minutes. But I'm pretty sure in this conversation, we are going to learn a lot from him. So first of all, sir, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us. Thank you, sir. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is skill development for youth in India. But before actually coming to the topic of today's session,
29 जुलाई 2020 को भारत सरकार 34 वर्षों के अंतराल के बाद एक नई राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति लेकर आई। उद्देश्य था नई पीढ़ी को नई सदी की मांग के अनुरूप योग्य बनाना।
ये पॉलिसी 21वीं सदी के नौजवानों की सोच, उनकी जरूरतें, उनकी आशाओं, अपेक्षाओं और आकांक्षाओं को देखते हुए बनाने का व्यापक प्रयास हुआ है।
राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में ऑनलाइन शिक्षा को प्राथमिकता और प्रोत्साहन दोनों दिया गया है, जिसके सफल परिणाम कोरोना महामारी के दौरान भी सामने आए। पीएम ई विद्या कार्यक्रम के अंतर्गत ऑनलाइन, टेलीविजन एवं कम्युनिटी रेडियो के माध्यम से पढ़ना लिखना चालू रहा। वन नेशन वन डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म से प्रेरित दीक्षा में स्कूल पाठ्यक्रम पर आधारित 1,85,000 से अधिक ई कंटेंट 32 भाषाओं में उपलब्ध किए गए। एक वर्ष में इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर हिट्स की संख्या 200 करोड़ से बढ़कर 2300 करोड़ हो गई है। जेईई एंड नीट की ऑनलाइन परीक्षाएं भी हुई, जिससे किसी विद्यार्थी का कोई सत्र व्यर्थ नहीं होने दिया गया।
अभी नया सिस्टम आ गया, ऑनलाइन क्लासेस होने लगी है, तो जो हम स्कूल नहीं जा पा रहे थे, अब हम वो घर से पढ़ सकते हैं।
यूजीसी ने ऑनलाइन शिक्षण के नए दिशा निर्देश जारी किए। ऑनलाइन कार्यक्रमों की संख्या अब 37 से बढ़कर 216 और संस्थाओं की संख्या 7 से बढ़कर अब 41 हो गई है। ऑनलाइन शिक्षण के लिए निर्मित स्वयं MOOCs पोर्टल, जिस पर वर्तमान में 814 डिग्री और डिप्लोमा कोर्स उपलब्ध हैं। गत वर्ष में 54 लाख छात्रों ने उस पर एनरोलमेंट कराया। इस नई नीति से भारत में पढ़ने आए विदेशी बच्चों को भी हमारी सुदृढ़ व्यवस्था का लाभ मिला है।
I'm from Cameroon. I'm very thankful for the government of India to give me the opportunity to pass off my education here in this great university.
एक तरफ निष्ठा के अंतर्गत लगभग 24 लाख प्रारंभिक स्तर के शिक्षकों को प्रशिक्षित किया गया है, तो गत एक वर्ष में स्किल डेवलपमेंट मंत्रालय द्वारा 1 लाख स्वास्थ्य कर्मचारियों को भी प्रशिक्षित किया। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के अंतर्गत सार्थक की रचना हुई, जो स्कूली शिक्षा में राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के सुचारू क्रियान्वयन के लिए एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव एक्शन प्लान है। इसी नीति द्वारा राष्ट्रीय अभियान निपुण भारत की भी शुरुआत की गई, जिसका लक्ष्य बच्चों को समझ के साथ पढ़ने और बुनियादी गणना की क्षमता को खेल खेल में विकसित करना है। स्कूल बैग के वजन और होमवर्क को कम करने के लिए दिशा निर्देश दिए गए और बच्चों के मानसिक स्वास्थ्य और तनाव से संबंधित समस्याओं का समाधान करने के लिए मनोदर्पण पोर्टल और हेल्पलाइन नंबर भी लॉन्च किया गया है। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में कक्षा 6 से ही कोडिंग, डेटा साइंस, फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी और हैंडीक्राफ्ट के वोकेशनल कोर्सेज को भी शामिल किया गया है और कक्षा 10वीं और 12वीं के लिए सीबीएसई द्वारा कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड एग्जाम्स की चरणबद्ध तरीके से शुरुआत की गई है। गत एक वर्ष में उच्च शिक्षा संस्थाओं ने कोविड संबंधी अनेकों शोध अनुसंधान किए और हमारे कई संस्थानों की ग्लोबल रैंकिंग में सुधार हुआ है। एक तरफ जहां राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति भारत के शिक्षार्थियों को विश्व से जोड़ती है, तो वहीं दूसरी तरफ उनमें एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत की अवधारणा को भी सशक्त करती है, नए भारत की आत्मा को प्राथमिकता देती और हमारी युवाओं को 21वीं सदी में अपनी पहचान बनाने के लिए तैयार कर रही है नई शिक्षा नीति।
May I request you to please explain to our viewers and give some highlights about the new education policy which was introduced last year?
Sure. Yeah. Good day to all. The National Education Policy 2020 embodies a brilliant strategy that will not only transform the country's academic system, but also solve one of the biggest problems like unemployment. The new Education Policy 2020 is the first education policy of the 21st century and replacing the 34-year-old National Education Policy 1986. It builds on foundational pillars like access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. This policy is aligned to the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development and aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and to make India as a global knowledge superpower by making both school and institute, college, higher education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and suited to 21st century industry needs, and aimed at bringing out the unique capabilities of students by providing customized and personalized education. So I will try to concentrate on school education first and slowly move towards higher education.
Fine.
On the school education side, if you see, ensuring the universal access at all levels of school education is one of the priority of new education policy. Early childhood care and education with new curriculum and attaining a foundational literacy and numeracy, which is very, very important. Reforms in school curriculum, emphasizing on mother tongue, the local language, regional language, what we call as medium of instruction till the grade 6 and preferably till grade 8 and beyond. And equitable and inclusive education, which is very, very important for a country like us. And we are concentrating on that. Teachers will be recruited through a robust, transparent process. The promotion will be merit-based with a mechanism of multi-source periodic performance appraisals and available progression paths to become educational administrators or teacher educators. Accreditation of the school system again is another thought process. So in short, from the school point of view, we want to make sure our children, will have an activated brain on the right as well as left, because this balancing act, like creativity, innovation, doing vocational courses, and interacting with digital boards. So all these are a part of empowering the school education. And coming to the higher education, our more concentrated on GER, the gross enrollment ratio. So increasing the GER up to 50% by 2035 is one of the major focus area in NEP 2020 with respect to higher education. Holistic multidisciplinary education. Higher education institutes will be transformed into a large, well-resourced, vibrant, multidisciplinary institutions by providing high-quality teaching, research, entrepreneurship, innovation, startups, and community engagement. These are ingredients which are missing in the older education policy.
Exactly.
The definition of university will allow a spectrum of institutions range from a research incentive to a teaching incentive institutions. And slowly we are going to move towards autonomous degree granting institutes/colleges. Along with that, we are coming up with a teacher empowerment. So basically it's a faculty development programs. And we are coming up with national curriculum framework for teacher education in consultance with NCERT, so that our teachers are going to be the best of the best in the world, and they will get all kinds of research material, all kinds of advanced technologies like 21st century skills are going to get trained on all these areas. And along with that, what we realized is we have lots of outstanding senior retired faculty. So we want to utilize them. So we are creating national mission of mentoring, so that this large pool of senior faculty can teach and mentor our faculty as well as students. And there's lots of effort will be made to incentivize the merit of students belongs to SC, ST, OBC, and SCDGs. So the National Scholarship Portal will be expanded to support such initiatives. And we are encouraging higher education institutes to offer a large number of free ships and scholarships to such students. And another area where we are concentrating, because after Corona, most of the people preferring the online learning. So we are opened up open and distance learning and attached that with a credit-based recognitions for all the mock courses we have.
Okay.
So this is going to be a game changer, because you can join any degree or diploma program or a mock-based program or a certification-based program, utilizing the internet access across the pan-India. So this is another beautiful initiative what we are taking. And as you know, technology is playing a major role in the current educational systems. So technology became a part of education. So we come up with National Educational Technology Forum. It is going to create a platform for free exchange of digital ideas in order to use the technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning, administration, etc. I mean, it's a huge, vast subject. Maybe we can cover that in further steps.
Sure, definitely.
And in order to preserve and grow and vibrancy of our Indian languages, and national education policy, we are setting up Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation, national institutes for language like Pali, Persian, Prakrit, etc., and strengthening the Sanskrit languages in all higher education language departments, and using mother tongue / local tongue, local language as a medium of instructions for more higher education institute programs like engineering and diploma. So this will basically preserve our culture as well as heritage and languages. All professional education will be integral part of higher education. In previous education model, it is a separate entity altogether. Now we are integrating these two together. We are creating a union. And most of the policies, our new education policy, are aiming 100% youth and adult literacy. So we are going to utilize these advanced technologies and the local language teaching, so that we will achieve the 100% adult literacy. And financing and educational institutes are very important. The central and states will work together to increase the public investment in education sector to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest. I mean, there is a external commercial borrowing is an element, which can be utilized by educational institutes to set up a center of excellences, to set up a startups, to start lots of research-oriented elements by taking finance, from first external commercial entities like angel investors or high net worth individuals. So these are the couple of interesting points. But since COVID, there is a tremendous change in our education system, especially teaching methods, the quality of digital content and the methodologies. So the COVID pandemic pushed the students to go remote and digital, and educators and institutes became more relevant and reliant on technology than ever before. I'm sure you also realized that after COVID pandemic, most of the people are started utilizing this advanced technologies
Right.
on the institute level. So basically what we see educational institutes generate and disseminate the knowledge. They basically share the knowledge with the students. So therefore, an integrated and a technology-driven systems becomes more efficiently instrumental in learning and exercising vocational innovation, startup and research activities. Example, if you take, you can create a virtual labs,
Right.
so that virtual labs can be a point of a source of learning. So this is the kind of a thought process what we are taking it forward, because we see 35% of 1.3 billion population of India is below 15 years of age. And
Right.
if you take below 30 years, it is up to 65%. So Indian and every Indian student needs a world-class education system where the NEP 2020 is focusing. So we need to create multiple strategies, to prepare the higher education sector as well as school education sector for evolving a demand-supply trends across the globe. That's where I see the new education policy comes into handy. And it has a beautiful thing like, it has a union of taking a requirements from the industry and understand what they want for next 5 to 10 years, and fine-tuning all our process educational policies in order to skill and upskill our students and faculty for their better employment opportunities. So with help of this new education policy, we as Ministry of Education, we are transforming schools, colleges and universities into interactive digital platforms by providing right set of digital experiences like Wi-Fi 6, 4G Volt or 5G, AR, VR, MVR, interactive videos, interactive PDFs to provide interactive content, personalized and customized learning, etc. So there are a couple of highlights, which we can go through, like, we are encouraging colleges to use, schools to use cloud computing, virtualization software and services. And we are encouraging them to use artificial intelligence empowered solutions and natural language processing, voice-based, speech-based applications to take our education industry forward.
Indeed, sir, this was really a very great answer from your side. You have explained every steps of this new education policy, and you have explained this very beautiful way. And sir, actually, this is a welcome change, and we must have to appreciate this. What are most actually the things which excites me most about this new education policy is there is a focus on the practical learning, and major focus is to produce more job creators rather than just job seekers. This is the most beautiful thing of this new education policy. So my next question to you is, a big opportunity for India lies in creating competent and trained manpower. Of particular concern has been the skilling of youth, which constitute nearly 68% of this country total population, as you have mentioned. So what are your recommendations to foster skilling and reskilling of youth, and how new education policy 2020 solve unemployment in our country?
As India received 375 billion US dollars as investment in last 7 years,
Okay.
which means India is going to be a global manufacturing and services hub. So we are going to be a Visva Guru,
Right.
in next few years, empowering the 7 crore higher education students and recent graduates to access industry aligned courses for skilling and upskilling is a key for our Atmanirbhar Bharat, because these companies are investing, but who is going to work? So our students, recent graduates, our faculty, our researchers, our innovators, right, and our entrepreneurs, who is going to support all these investments and going to create a vibrant India. So continuous upskilling is the driving force for making India the global digital talent hub. So
Okay.
that's where the NEP 2020 comes into picture. NEP 2020 focuses on skilling, reskilling based education. So learning, hands-on training, cross specialization, because till now we are specialized in one area, like, if I'm a
Correct.
computer science engineer, then I'm focusing only on computer science.
Exactly.
But now it opens up a cross specialization. Even if I'm a computer science engineer, if I'm interested on learning food or maybe on any other road related technologies, we are welcoming that, and we are allowing them to do it. And there are lots of cross specialization and mentoring sessions which leading students towards proficiency and employability, because you need some kind of a mentor. Maybe take a industry mentor who is teaching you the recent technologies in the industry, right? So that is where the new education policy comes into picture, and giving all those such opportunities to the students. So we have put in a digital platform that connects industries, employees, research institutes, social organizations with the students and the faculties, because we believe that we need to take our faculty also to along with our students.
Right.
So that is where we are creating such kind of a platforms to empower both the entities and use a potential social entrepreneur organization to enhance the internship opportunities, student experience with communities and society. Because see, we strongly believe if you work on a real-time scenario, imagine a student from a different country finishing his graduation without an experience, and our student from India, he is finishing his graduation or a diploma with the real-time experience. So he will get more preference, right? Because he
Exactly.
has a hands-on experience. So that's where we fine-tuned all our policies and making sure that we will give better opportunities and better future for our students. So in order to do that, we have created incubation centers, technology parks, to create internship opportunities. We are involved and interacting with various MNCs, and we are trying to get them on board. So in this process, we have created ACT internship portal, where we have given more than 12 lakh internship opportunities to students and recent graduates with 70 lakh plus verified profiles. And I'm happy to share this, that 38,000 plus MNCs, central government ministries, PSUs are become a part of it.
It's
And they
amazing.
all are helping our students to gain more industrial knowledge. And we are even now planning to add a vocational education for school children as a part of internship on the same portal, so that they will also start learning the things, but on a location centric. As school students are much more stationary and they are too young to move out to do an internship. So we are trying to give them internship very near to their school or their home. That's the thought process we have. So we are working on that model for school also. So very soon we will get the school children also on the portal.
The thing which you have told is really amazing and will be a welcome change for all of us, and definitely will be a game changer. And you have talked about the cross specialization. This is the thing which I like the most about this. And so my next question to you is, the technological revolution has already accelerated to another level. Technologies like robotics, AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain, drones, and augmented reality are being harnessed to create a safer, efficient, and more productive environment. So my question to you is, in your views, how technology will be helpful in reshaping the Indian economy? And one more, promotion of Indian languages and art and culture.
Yeah. First, I will try to concentrate on the technology with respect to research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and startups. Because as I already mentioned earlier, technology became a part of education. Maybe I can say technology is dominating to deliver this content in various formats. So basically, New Education Policy 2020 creates a robust ecosystem for researching, innovation, entrepreneurship, and for startups mainly. That will propel India into a leading knowledge economy and also drive the economic, intellectual, societal, environmental, and technological progress of our nation. This will tap into innovation potential of large talent pool to enhance research capabilities and output across disciplines. See, that's where the local language comes into picture, because we have lots of talent pool across the country. But because of the language barrier, they're not able to fulfill their requirements or their dreams. So we have created a couple of artificial intelligence based language translation tools where the content is available in 12 different Indian languages. So maybe I will touch that point again, but this is enabling and creating a larger talent pool and helping lots of adult also to create, to involve in research, innovation, etc. And NAP has another very beautiful thought process is translate the knowledge to wealth, by means of proper implementation of new education policy. So focusing research should be related to societal issues and problems connected to reality rather than generating research topics, because the previous education policy has this lagging, like identifying the society problems, industry problems, and solving it. I think that is where we need to concentrate, and the new education policy is going to concentrate more on that. So we are creating opportunities by providing a degree with research. So that is one area, where we are focusing and working on, and providing opportunities for students to work on their innovative ideas to solve real-time problems by organizing competitions, hackathons. We do lots of hackathons using our MIC. And at a national level, state level, international level, and we are creating a platform where students are supported by mentors while working on innovative ideas or internship opportunities, providing adequate funding. Example, we have something called Yukti. Using Yukti, we are helping students if they have some kind of a startup idea. We are helping them on due diligence, on mentoring them, on connecting them with various other startups, on the funding side, on the promotion side. I think, this is the completely, we have opened up a new area, where the student, while studying, he can be a researcher or a startup fellow or an entrepreneur. So you can do all this while you are in college.
Exactly.
And identifying leading research institutes, universities to act as mentors / margadarsaks, what we call it, to all the students as well as faculty. And as I said, there's lots of technological innovations which we are utilizing. Example, if you take, we are creating a few edutech based artificial intelligence systems, which can help our students to upskill or skill their knowledge. So there's lots of opportunities, and technology playing a major role. Like example, recently we requested one of the German company who is creating a aeroplane engine. We have taken a digital twin of it and we have given it to some students to study. And with the help of the digital twin, they are fine tuning that process, and they are trying to create a better systems by sitting in their colleges or at home. I think lots of opportunities which we are opening up. And coming to the entrepreneurship, which is my favorite area, we are allowing to create an entrepreneur ecosystem to grow across the higher education campuses by setting up incubation centers and leveraging the existing technology parks. Recently, I visited one college in Tamil Nadu. They are almost inside the technology park. So imagine the kind of opportunities they are getting. So they can simply just move towards to the technology park. They can work with various organizations, they can improve their entrepreneur skills. They can do lots of R&D. They can learn 21st century future technologies. So we are doing all that to leverage the research outcomes, industry collaboration, student innovations to drive the regional and national economy. Because see, this is very important. Till
Right.
now we are spending, we are not getting any returns. So now, because of this new education policy, this money will go as an investment to solve most of the problems in our country, so that it will basically drive our economy forward. And supporting setting up incubation centers, which is very, very important. I mean, not only on the technical front, we are doing this on a healthcare side, on a agriculture side, on a general education side. Lots of areas we are concentrating, because this is not only for one set of students. Every student, every set, every stream we have, every businesses kind of a business entities we have. We are trying to cover all those problem statements and working with all these different entities, and made this new education policy in agile in nature. That's a beauty of this thing. So if we are getting some kind of new technologies or a new business and ideas, it has that adaptability. Example, recently gig-based model became very famous, right?
Right.
So we are embedding that gig-based model into our internship portal. So anyone they can do a internship based or a gig-based. So that's the beauty of this new education policy. It is very, very agile in nature. And funding to create incubation centers, and helping students to get a venture or angel investment funding. I mean, lots of new things which we are doing. And if you see from the Indian tradition, language, arts, and culture point of view, I mean, I take this entire entity as one, because India has a very rich tradition of knowledge and developed over the ages. I mean, we are like millions of years of old human beings, and studying, researching, preserving, promoting, this kind of a knowledge will have a direct impact on the society. So preserving and promoting this kind of a cultural wealth must be given a high priority, and new education policy does that. And it is very important for our national identity as well as for our economy. Because if you see couple of the methods adopted by our sages, has lots of solutions with a minimal investment. So we are concentrating and coming up, on preserving knowledge on the human values, science and technology, social system, political systems. If you see, the first navigational system was invented in our country by Rajaraja Chola. And, I mean, amazing, the entire economics, what we call it as today, the trading systems was invented by Indians. The best of the best ships was built in India, thousands of years back. And when Britishers visited India, they was amazed by seeing the size of our ships. I mean, that kind of a knowledge which we used to have, and it is very important to preserve and utilize such knowledge into our current, 21st century. So research into the new education policy, I mean, the Indian knowledge systems in different streams, and utilizing that for the fulfillment of current needs is a need of the hour, which new education policy fulfills. So we are documenting, we are doing a digitization of all this literature available, so that anyone can come and they can read it. And we are trying to promote that in multiple languages, so that the foreign entities can also come, institutes, researchers, they can look into it and they can understand. And we are concentrating on field of Ayurveda, neuropathy, etc. Maybe I'm not expert in that subject, so I'm just limiting myself. This is the thought process what we have on the Indian knowledge system side. And from the Indian language point of view, as you know, we have beautiful vernacular languages. I mean, our languages are, but our culture, our heritage, it has a combination of arts, science, culture, philosophy. I mean, it was a beautiful thing. When you hear your mother language, you feel delighted, right? You feel so happy. So preservation of all our local languages are very, very important. And this is one of the aim of a new education policy. So we are not only preserving, we are promoting, and we are promoting researching on our ancient literature. And we are promoting use of mother tongue in primary and secondary education as well as higher education. And promotion of national languages in the country, because we have beautiful language. If you see, every language are so sweet that you will feel so comfortable. And most of the languages are maybe 10,000, 20,000 years of age. I think it is our culture, it is our history, heritage. We must.
Exactly.
So we are utilizing the advanced translation technologies using artificial intelligence and translating most of the documents into 12 different languages along with English, so that the interested people can go through and understand all this. So this is one area. And coming to the technology, I mean, technology, as I already said, plays a very major role. See, nowadays we are providing AR, VR based solutions, robotic based solutions, because the student don't need to go to industry. Sometimes they can create a small set of robotic lab. And within that lab, they can create the entire, they can replicate or create a POC of a larger industries. And we funding for all those kind of initiatives, and we are utilizing AR, VR, and interactive videos, and mainly the personalized and customized learning, because I feel strongly that every student is unique, and every student needs a different kind of a learning patterns. So we are utilizing the advanced technologies to make sure that every student learn on their own learning path. Maybe sometimes, they learn utilizing a textual based or a research based or a image based or sometimes, the interactivity based, sometimes on a video based, sometimes on a voice based, sometimes on a speech recognition. I mean, we are just taking things completely to the next generation.
Yes.
At the same time, we are preserving all our Indian culture and heritage.
Indeed, sir. I think you have told, actually, you have given a very detailed insights into this new education policy, and you have told some of the great terms. You told how this new education policy is more towards actually creating an entrepreneur, more towards giving practical knowledge and practical education. And you have also told that how actually we are coming with gig economy, and this will also going to produce not only entrepreneurs but also the solopreneurs. And you have talked about the setting up of the incubation centers in almost every college of the country. Like a baby is nurtured, incubation centers actually provides facility to nurture young firms during their early months or years of growth. Further, this collaborative program designs help new startups to succeed, and this is actually a welcome and amazing change. Sir, I must say there's a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this session, actually this is a kind of because we know that youth is a time of enormous energy. A lot of youth is in a confused state of mind. So what will be one piece of advice at the end of this session would you like to give to today's youth?
See, we are in a 21st century.
Yes.
And the need of the customers are changing, and the education institutes needs to be dynamic in nature. At the same time, industries are also very dynamic in nature. So the requirements are changing, the needs are changing, the technologies are changing. I think you need to be very adaptive in nature, so that you can adopt any technologies. If you ask me, the 5 ingredients, what I suggest. The 2 is, your own stream skills. Like example, let's say you are an electronics engineer. So try to concentrate on 2 areas of your stream, so that you are best of the best in those 2 areas. The third one is cross domain, very, very important. Let's say you are an electronics, as I said, mentioned earlier, but you try to learn something on the road technologies, because, let's say the Urban Development Ministry and the smart cities, they need lots of electrical engineers, electronics engineers, or computer science engineers. So if you learn how the, smart cities work, I think, that kind of a domain knowledge, or a banking, or investments, or for say the cyber security, it's going to create more than 50 lakh plus opportunities in next 3 years itself. I think cyber security, blockchain, artificial business intelligence, because after 4G, 5G, we are creating terabytes of information, right? So
Exactly.
someone needs to translate all this information into a meaningful format. So I think you need to concentrate on domain knowledge. That's the third one. The fourth one is language. I think, you identify which, maybe you may not be with doing your job in India. You may get an opportunities outside. So try to learn multiple languages. Like example, Japanese, we have an amazing opportunities there. If you learn French, I think your employability opportunities will increase. So that is the, fourth one I say. The fifth one is don't forget our culture and our languages.
Exactly.
Let us preserve, very, very important, because most of the youth, they only speak English. But I recommend, when you speak with your parents, you try to speak in local languages.
Right.
And when you try to speak with your friends, just have some fun and, and speak in our Indian languages and try to maintain our and preserve our culture. Very, very important, because the minute someone destroys your heritage and culture, you will disappear. You will end up nowhere. I think this is the fifth suggestion what I have. So let us be more progressive and upfront and advanced technological human beings at the same time be as an Indian. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Actually,
and I wish best of all the students, faculty, and every Indian. Let us all work together
sure.
and create a Vishwa Guru, out of our country, because we were a Vishwa Guru. And I'm sure we have that capability and we have that eligibility, and we are. And I would like to close with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalamji's quote. Learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. So I always, inspired by this quote and see what kind of amazing people born in our country, because this country has, our land has that capability of producing best of the best. And I'm sure if we all work together, we will create a vibrant knowledge society and make our country as a Vishwa Guru by utilizing Make in India Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much for joining and giving your important time. And I must say that the kind of energy you brought into this session was very inspiring, and the advices which you have given will be meaningful for the viewers, those who are watching this session. And one more thing which I would like to ask is that, sir, I have found you a very down-to-earth personality. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside.